else is concerning in this, what was passed out here to that actually would solve anything that we're looking at?
Well, so my understanding of the one that was passed is that it would essentially be state type grants.
Well, it did until we added on the federal side of it.
Yeah, when we're looking at federal type of red flag laws, I mean, one of the big things should be follow up in terms of like mental health
screening
treatment. Ensuring that people have a route to, have their rights restored to them. And so part of the problem is jurisdictional. You don't have that at a federal level the way you do at a state level. And frankly, it's not really a federal jurisdictional type of issue.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate, the conversation about the old 22, but it boils down to the old log, and actually the quick as anything else, and it's 50 years old. It's not a brand new gun. Roger, I appreciate what you do for your community. I thank you for the unfortunate incident that you saw.
We get
part of our response in Iraq. I was in the hospital in Balad. I saw these, from IEDs, from everything else. And your testimony is very compelling on this. But isn't it true also that a 357 Magnum and a hollow point bullet, or a 44 Magnum with a hollow point bullet, would also cause catastrophic damage, as just you have seen also from a?
It's my understanding, yes, there has cavitary lesions from those types of weapons as well.
So again, I guess from your testimony on how bad this is, if you really want to do away with what you saw, you need to get rid of all guns, correct?
I'm not advocating for anything like that. I'm just telling you what
I appreciate what I see. But they are similar, and I think that's the only point I was trying to make, is there are similar concussions from different guns, which nobody's talking about taking away up here. And I think they're very similar when you look at it. Thank you for your testimony. Again, thank you for your work. I yield back. Ms. Lockwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On July 28th, a shooter in Gilroy used a Wassenaar Arrangement semi-automatic rifle, WASR-10, which is a variant of an AK-47, and he had a 75-round drum magazine and 5 40-round magazines as he carried out his attack. Now, the sale of this firearm in high-capacity magazines are actually banned in California, but he went over to Nevada,
got him and brought him back.
And brought them back to Gilroy. He
knew the law.
He killed Stephen Romero, age 6, who lived in my district, and Kyla Salazar, who was 13,
Salazar,
who lived in my district, and Trevor Urban,
name of a pirate, Captain Salazar.
He injured 17 others.
He killed
did that
Salazar
in under 60 seconds because the Gilroy police, who were outgunned, actually ran up to him, and in less than a minute they shot him, and then he shot him and killed himself. So I really am grateful to the Gilroy police officers, but I feel the need to take action so that you can't have a weapon that can do so much damage in under 60 seconds and kill innocent people who have a right to be able to go to a family-friendly festival and not be in fear of their lives. After that, Mayor, I heard your testimony about the impact on a community. It's very real for the people who were there, for their neighbors, for their fellow parishioners and their friends, but really it's a whole community. The next weekend, there were family-friendly festivals that were canceled because people were afraid to go out in public. And so we have created here a situation where the kind of thing that I had growing up, where I could go to a park, or a grocery store, or walk down the street and not be afraid, that's not the case anymore. And we have an obligation to make sure that Americans have that same
You're afraid anyway
that they had when I was young. And we failed in that. And that's why
talk about inner cities, please. Talk about black situations, and we can't walk down the street.
Your long experience.
You over here talking about something that you ain't had to deal with, but I had to worry about walking down the street in my neighborhood because I had a gun pointed at me when I was 17 years old at the bus stop.
The expiration of the
at the fucking bus stop.
Certainly, I've
Revolver.
seen a big leap
Could've
in
blew my
assault
shit to
pistols.
Kingdom Come.
As I said in my opening
Loaded.
testimony, on the streets during the 80s and 90s, we were facing Tech 9s that
You had
carried
guns pulled out on
handgun
you?
rounds. And now, a
You don't
blatant
live- you live in
attempt
a
to work around
protected
the
world,
intentions
a
of the
protected
National Firearms
environment.
Act and the regulation of
I've
short
had
barrel
guns pulled out
rifles.
on me
You
just
can
by
get
being-
AK
just
and
by
AR
walking
pistols,
from home.
which
Just by
weren't
walking
used
from
in
the
war. They were
store.
developed to kill people here domestically. I don't think I know any common gun
Involved
owners who
in
look to that as a
anything
great
wrong.
self-defense weapon. But they fire rounds that leave devastating wounds, and we saw that in Dayton. And they're outside the norm, and they're more lethal.
Now, I'm wondering, I mean, when I think about
What about revolvers?
California and the actions
I can
taken
make
by
a way worse
the state
wound with a
legislature
revolver.
and governor to make the
That don't matter
state
though.
safer,
It doesn't
do you think state
matter.
laws are
He hit the
sufficient?
same
given
note
that
I hit. But what about
as a
revolvers?
Gilroy, the
That-
shooter could just
A
cross the state
357
line and
Magnum, a
something
44
banned
Magnum.
from the state?
Can't these decapitate you? And you're
We need a
talking about
national
you know,
comprehensive approach. I was
gonna
just out in
ban
Denver, and we're
44
talking to
Magnums
people
and
there focused on
357s
the issue of gun
because
violence.
it can
Half of their crime
decapitate you?
guns come
No,
from other states.
because it doesn't fit the narrative
Many
of
of the crime guns in
mass
Chicago
shootings.
that we heard talked about earlier are coming from states like Indiana.
It's about narrative.
That's from firearms trafficking. If we had comprehensive and universal laws and approaches to regulation at the national level, there would not be this interstate travel to go
It's
and
just
work
like
around
Mike.
the law. It's really no different than when we had different drinking age. Kids would go to another state to get by underage. So I think that's why it's important for us here to be, as federal authorities, making decisions for the country as a whole.
Well, I
Suck
thank
a
you
dick.
for that, but there is a difference because a 19-year-old going to drink in New York is a lot different than a 19-year-old going to Nevada and killing children in Gilroy. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back, Mr. Shatner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't yet a member of this body when the 94
Assault weapons ban.
passed. I was elected that year and sworn in the following year. But as a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, I
Never in my life thought I'd be so educated.
voted for that at the time.
Never in my life would I thought I'd be this
I would
educated.
note that when the so-called assault weapons ban was in place from
Right.
94 to 2004,
Right.
I would note that that is when the Columbine shooting took place, right in the middle of that. I think it was 99, if I'm not mistaken. And I think contrary to the majority's belief, there's really no conclusive evidence that the weapons ban had any appreciable effect on mass shootings or violent crime. Ms. Swear, would you want to comment on that? Is that your understanding as well?
Thank you, Congressman. That is my understanding, and that was the understanding of those who released the official report on the after the ban expired. What they actually found was that should it be renewed,
Sound like
it
you
would be
shitting every
unlikely
time
to
you
have
try to
any
get your words out.
meaningful
Yeah.
or measurable effect. In part because, as I noted previously, these types of firearms are rarely used to commit crimes in the first place. It's
Right.
actually handguns and non-assault weapons that are historically and still to this
The word
day
assault is
most
being
often used to commit crimes.
I breathe every time I hear that. It's just like I have to believe their lie and talk through the lie in order to even communicate with them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Look
When
at her.
you were a law enforcement
She got
officer,
glee. Look at her with glee.
That was during the assault weapons ban when that was in place. Is that correct?
Before, during, and after.
Given your experience, would you agree with the swear relative to whether there is any evidence that we were any safer as a society, as a community, when that was in place, or what are your thoughts about that?
Yes, I would agree with her. Personally, professionally, I had it had zero impact on me. I saw no difference before, during, or after the beginning or the end of the assault weapons ban from 94 to 04.
Thank you. Ms. Mueller, could you describe some of the misconceptions that you frequently hear when it comes to the discussion surrounding so-called assault weapons?
Yeah.
One of the things that when we talk about weapon of war, I hear it being a weapon of war. First of all
All weapons are from war. Let's say
anything can be used as a weapon
Weapon
when you're
in
battle,
war.
I suppose. But the AR-15 specifically, I have friends that have served in combat roles, and they have told me that that is
You
not
want
a
an AR
desirable
on the
round. They do
battlefield?
not
Fuck no.
like the AR-15, the
You rather have a
223 or the
308
5.56.
Winchester.
This is their personal opinion, but they would much prefer to carry a 308 or something with greater stopping power.
Straight
Thank you.
to
The guns that we're
rather
discussing
carry
here,
something like a 308 or with
people
stop.
use,
You're not gonna keep
these,
running when I hit you with the 308.
hunt, do they
You're
use
not
them
gonna
for
keep running when I hit
self-defense?
you
Are
with
they
the 308. It's
suitable
just
for
not gonna
both?
happen.
Could you
It's
comment
not
on that?
happening.
Yes, sir. We certainly use them in my family. We use them for both. And I will have to be the law-abiding citizen that does have a pistol AR, and I choose that because it is more compact and it does give me the greater capacity and the
Look at him
more-
smiling.
it's
What
just
are you
a better
smirking for?
defensive firearm, and it fits better in my car and my vehicle that I'm traveling in. So it's a little bit easier to move around, but I get the same advantages of the AR.
Thank you very much. Ms. Swear, let me go back.
Armor light
to
rifle. How the intelligent
what do you
officer
believe are the major
that has a
motivations
pistol AR.
behind mass shootings,
That's what I'm talking
that
about.
we've seen, and is it
I mess
your opinion
with
that
you.
we ought to be focused
And we
on,
can't take your guns.
what's actually causing these
You hear me?
shootings, as opposed to what we're focused on here today?
Congressman, that is absolutely my opinion. And it is very clear when you look at mass public shooters, what you see is much higher rates of untreated serious mental illness. So people who either, like 1/4 of mass public shooters have been diagnosed with a serious mental illness, or as 2/3 of them have, what you're actually seeing is people who are not in a mentally stable place, even if they haven't been officially diagnosed with any sort of mental illness. But these are, by and large, individuals who are not in a good
She's over there
mental
swallowing
place, who are
like
showing clear signs of being a
shit
danger
she's
to
saying
themselves or
is true.
others, where there's
she's
room
so
for
evil, like
intervention
God.
with them. And so that is one of the
The
avenues we
wicked
have to
witch
look
of the
at.
West. Look at
Is
her.
how do we actually
And
treat
people
those
just
underlying
staring at her
problems,
because she looks crazy.
and intervene in an effective, narrow way specifically for those dangerous individuals.
Thank you very much. My time's expired, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman goes back, if Mr. Cohen is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me ask Mr. Chipman, as a former IACP person myself, as a legal advisor a long time ago. These weapons are made by lots of companies, is that not correct?
That's correct.
So is Colt the exclusive manufacturer of AR-15s?
No, they're not. We have a variety of ways that you can acquire an AR-15 model. There are imported ones.
Colt has decided not to produce any more manufacturing, is that right?
They describe the market as flooded, and it's my belief that it's flooded by foreign made
shit, that's-
ARs
oh
and
my
the
gosh,
ability
that's,
to make one your own now.
Are some of those, any of those be coming from Russia?
No.
The Russian model that I'm familiar with would be more an AK variant.
AK-47?
Yep.
Are they sold here?
They're not only sold here, they're now manufactured in this country. If you're talking about Kalashnikov.
How long has that, have they been manufactured here?
USA.
I'm not certain.
I agree that there should be a definition of what a so-called assault rifle is, so-called
Let's
weapon
answer
that
the question, if you have this definition, of a semi-automatic, a firearm that looks bad because, it's got a shoulder,
Brace.
thing and, something that, people can put. I don't own any firearms, so I'm not defining this correctly, but I was not elected to sit here,
And
and
talk
tell
about-
people who like to hunt that all of a sudden the firearm that they have been using legally according to state DNR regulations, ends up being banned because we in Congress think it should be.
Right, that's bullshit.
We write a definition.
And you don't even own a gun.
That hunting rifles will be banned.
I think a definition should be made in terms of what should be legal and what should
Yeah,
not.
well, you're not answering the question, Chief Brackney.
My man.
Yes or no?
Thank you for the question. I believe
Yes or
any
no?
weapon that can be used to hunt individuals should be banned.
Not a yes or no. Individuals, I need a yes or no.
Well, that's not what the Virginia DNR says, Ms. Ryan.
We think that you can clearly distinguish assault rifles from sporting hunting rifles. And
What would
just
you
because
call
you
a
can
sporting
hunt
rifle?
with an AR-15 does not make it a hunting rifle. Having said that, we do not support a ban on true hunting rifles.
Okay, well, I will put that down as a question mark, Ms. Swearer.
If the question is whether hunting rifles should be banned just because they are semi-automatic, the answer is no. And I would point out that again, when we're talking
Look at
about
her, she jumped
difference
up.
between hunting rifles and assault weapons, we're not talking about lethality, we're not talking about caliber, we're talking about things like pistol grips and barrel shrouds that don't change the functional mechanics. And so I would say no, we shouldn't be banning hunting rifles just because they have pistol grip and they're easy to use.
Ms. Muller, then my time will be up.
Thank
No.
you. No. 2 no's and
Gentleman's time has expired.
no
I'd like to
answer.
I'd like to briefly address the members of the audience in the hearing room. Welcome your
Nothing but a
respect.
giant
Your right to
Masonic
be here. We also in turn ask for
devils.
your respect as we proceed with business of the committee,
Fully
and it's the intention
constituted.
of the committee to proceed with this hearing without disruptions. And we ask everyone to respect that.
Thank you.
Mr. Cicilline, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr.
Cicilline.
Chairman. Thank you for holding the first hearing on assault weapons in 20 years.
Cicilline.
There's a reason why assault weapons have become the weapon of choice for mass killers. They're weapons of war designed to kill as many people as possible in as short a time as possible. On August 4th, a shooter used a lawfully purchased AR-15 style assault rifle to take the lives of 9 people and injure 27 more people in less than a minute in Dayton, Ohio. Just one day earlier, a gunman legally purchased an AK-47 style rifle and within minutes killed 22 people and injured 27 in a Walmart in El Paso. And on July 28th, 2019, a gunman legally purchased an assault weapon weeks before killing 3 people and wounding 12 people at the Gilroy Garlic Festival in California, with police on the scene in under a minute. In each of these shootings, despite the quick response times and heroic efforts of law enforcement and first responders, 34 people were killed within a week's time and 60 more people injured. And this does not even begin to account for the mental health consequences that these shootings have on survivors and the impacted communities. I want to welcome all the wonderful advocates who are here, the family members who have lost loved ones to gun violence, and thank you for being here and for being such a powerful voice in this debate. I particularly want to acknowledge Mayor Whaley and thank her for her graceful and strong leadership in a very difficult time. I reintroduced H.R. 1296, the assault weapons ban of 2019, to address the harm that mass shootings have in our communities and to keep the American people safe from senseless acts of violence. This bipartisan legislation with 211 co-sponsors prohibits the sale, transfer, manufacture, and importation of semi-automatic weapons and ammunition feeding devices capable of accepting more than 10 rounds, while protecting hunting and sporting rifles and assault weapons used by members of the military and law enforcement. There are 215 weapons that are exempted in the bill that are sporting rifles and hunting rifles. So this notion that we're going to ban hunters is false. Had the legislation been passed and signed into law, it would have prevented the tragedies we witnessed in Dayton, El Paso, and Gilroy. If you listen to my Republican colleagues on this committee, you would think the assault weapons ban is some radical idea. It's never been done before. The truth is it was a law for 10 years, from 1994 to 2004. It passed the House with 38 Republican votes. It worked. And no law-abiding American lost their guns. In mass shootings, 63% more people were killed when shooters used assault weapons or high-capacity weapons rather than other types of firearms. And during the 10-year period of the 1994 assault weapons ban, mass shooting fatalities were 70% less likely than when the ban was in place. With a ban, it's less likely that
The evidence is clear, unfortunately, that the Speaker of the House of Representatives has been functionally catfished into a politically fatal impeachment proceeding based on rumors, based on faulty evidence, and based on a bloodlust for the president politically that does not serve our nation well. Let me give you the high points. There is no quid pro quo between President Trump and President Zelensky for anything, much less military aid. There is no 8 times a reference to Joe Biden. I think the Wall Street Journal will have a good deal of retracting to do today. And in fact, President Zelensky himself identifies the rooting out of corruption as the reason for his election. Early on in the conversation between President Trump and President Zelensky says, we here in the Ukraine are trying to drain the swamp, much in the way you are working to drain. swamp in the United States of America. This was
One A, two A. First Amendment right, support your Second Amendment right to carry to your Third Amendment right. Don't use your Fourth Amendment right. So you have to use your Fifth Amendment right.
Americans will be killed while at their favorite band concert, while hanging out with
God
friends,
gives us these rights.
when praying at their places of worship,
From us
while
fighting
simply
and
going to
bleeding for
school.
the country.
Instead of
The
attacking
flag
the
was-
problem of mass shootings head on, we're building schools with
We ain't gonna
curved
sing these
hallways
songs.
to minimize casualties from an active
You're not gonna be
shooter.
walking
We're
down
sending our
the
kids
dun,
off to
dun,
school
dun,
with
dun,
bulletproof
dun,
backpacks. This is sickening.
Sickening.
We have an opportunity to do something. We have a solution, one that worked and made a real difference. And I'm going to ask you, Ms. Rand, if you look at this 2016 study by Professor Louis Cleverus of the University of Massachusetts at Boston, he analyzed data on every gun massacre where 6 or more people were shot and killed for 50 years to analyze whether the 10-year-old federal ban on assault weapons had any effect on gun massacres.
Hell no.
As you can see, when the ban lapsed in 2004, the numbers of gun massacres shot up with a 183% increase in massacres, 34 massacre incidents, and a 239% increase in massacre deaths. So does that establish, in fact, the effectiveness of the assault weapons ban?
Well, I think that the 94 ban definitely had a chilling effect on the industry. It was able to evade the law in certain ways. And
Right.
your bill
Heavy
addresses
barrel
all of
ARs
those
with
things
the
that
real
industry does. So
way.
your bill would be
You can
even
get an
more
AR
effective.
back
But
once
we
it's
know
in.
from the
So you can have
statistics
ARs.
that there
That's
clearly
just a
was a
heavy barrel.
reduction
And then
in
you
mass
learn what a heavy
shootings.
barrel
And
is.
since the
And then you
ban
learn you can own
lapsed,
it.
industry has
Before
only
that, I knew I could
become
even
more
own
and
that.
more and more aggressive. And
We
one
were
point I would like
free.
to make about
We were free
increasing
people.
lethality is the huge
I
increase in
just want our
capacity
people
in
to be free
magazines.
again.
We very seldom saw
Not controlled
75
by
round,
government.
100 round magazines. We see
It's
those all
okay
the
to
time
control
now.
the government.
Thank you, Mr. Rand. And that,
It's
of course,
okay.
the legislation I propose has the one characteristic
Yeah,
that
that's the
you
work
previously spoke
government
on.
that agree.
Chief Brackney, on August 14th of this year, 6 police officers in Philadelphia were shot during an 8-hour standoff with a gunman using an AR-15. According to the Violence Policy Center, in 2016, 1 in 4 police officers killed in the line of duty was killed by an assault weapon. And in attacks on law enforcement that resulted in multiple police fatalities, assault weapons killed 75% of those officers. In
But
your
what
opinion,
about
whether
an
assault weapons
AK-47?
assist law
The
enforcement
cop killer,
protecting
nigga.
themselves
And
and
you,
communities from gun
most
violence?
cops are killed by illegal weapons.
Absolutely. And what
Say
we
this
want
with
for
me.
these open
Most
carry
police are
states,
shot
it's
by
much
illegal
easier to
guns.
identify a person
Talk to
who
me
has
now.
an illegal weapon if
Illegal.
they're not allowed to have one to start. I wouldn't have to make the distinction whether it's a good person with a gun or
Or a bad person with the gun.
Absolutely.
If it's illegal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Fuck.
I have several
In the
unanimous.
first place, it's already
consent.
illegal.
First is a letter of support for the
First,
assault
if it's
weapons
good
ban
person, bad
signed by
person,
nearly 150
it's
organizations,
illegal.
including the Newtown Action Alliance and the Brady Campaign.
Objection.
I'm asking unanimous consent to have a study by the Violence Policy Center that shows 1 in 4 law enforcement officers slain in the line of duty by an assault weapon.
Illegal guns.
Asking unanimous consent that this report of a 2018 study published in Journal of Trauma and Acute Care Surgery, which found that mass fatalities were 70% less likely to occur during the 1994 assault weapon ban period.
Without objection.
An article reflecting a poll by Morning Consult showing 70% of Americans, including the majority of Republicans, support an assault weapons ban.
Objection.
And finally, a Fox News poll that shows 67% of Americans support an assault weapons ban.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentlemen. Gentlemen.
Will not comply with any efforts by the Democratic Congress. We will not comply Any efforts to ban,
If you can comply with it, if you can comply with the officer.
let's get this up. On behalf of me and the others who will not comply.
Bye-bye.
Radicals have claimed to.
Fortunately, we're still a country of laws, sir.
Gentlemen, suspend.
Damn, he got kicked out of the House committee. Fuck. Right, we will not comply. Motherfucker, they're going. Yeah, police coming. I tell you what, rude, truth, crazy. I tell you what. Better get her gun and give her gun. What? What?
Another reminder for the audience that while
Let's run this back.
appreciate your being here, I need to refrain from making any noise or otherwise disrupting the proceedings or like the last
My
gentleman.
man kirked out in the meeting.
I will remove you from the audience so that we can return to order. Mr. Buck, your recommends.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Whaley, you mentioned in your opening statement that the shooter in Dayton was neutralized by the police. Was the shooter killed by police?
Yes, Representative.
And was